A waitress, moved by compassion, decides to feed a homeless man in desperate need, only to face shocking consequences. Her boss fires her on the spot. But just when hope seems completely lost, something extraordinary unfolds. The mayor himself arrives, and what happens next will leave you speechless. Before we dive into this powerful tale of courage and compassion, make sure to subscribe to our channel and become part of our growing community of story lovers. By subscribing, you'll gain access to heartwarming stories like this one, stories that inspire, uplift, and remind us of the power of kindness. Don't miss out on weekly videos that restore your faith in humanity. Subscribe now, and let's spread positivity together. Now, let's get into the story. The diner buzzed with its usual morning energy, the symphony of clinking dishes, quiet conversations, and the occasional shout from the kitchen blending together. The comforting scent of sizzling bacon and freshly brewed coffee filled the air, wrapping the small establishment in a cozy warmth. Emily weaved through the bustling crowd with practiced ease, balancing trays while jotting down orders. Though her movements were quick, her focus on the customers never wavered. Her smile? It had a way of melting tension, whether it was the grumpy old man who ordered black coffee every morning or the young couple sharing breakfast before work. But today, something felt different. Off. As Emily set down a plate of pancakes for a customer, her eyes drifted toward the window. There, sitting alone on the curb outside, was a man who seemed forgotten by the world. His appearance told a painful story, clothes tattered and worn, his face pale and unshaven, shoulders slumped as though life's burdens pressed him closer to the ground. He barely moved, but his eyes traced every plate of food carried inside, filled with longing. Emily hesitated. Her heart clenched. Homelessness was not rare in the city, yet there was something about this man, a silent plea in his gaze she couldn't ignore. She knew she had to act. After a quick scan around the diner to ensure her tables were cared for, Emily headed to the counter. She began preparing a plate, scooping scrambled eggs, bacon, and golden hash browns. She added a slice of buttered toast, and Emily poured a steaming cup of coffee into a sturdy mug, placing everything neatly on a tray before heading outside. "Excuse me, sir," she said softly as she approached. The man flinched, startled by her presence, and looked up with tired, suspicious eyes. "Can I help you?" he asked cautiously, his voice hoarse. "I thought you might be hungry," Emily replied, holding out the plate and coffee. "Here, please take this." The man's hands trembled as he reached for the food. I don't have any money," he murmured, voice thick with embarrassment. "You don't need any," Emily said with a warm smile. "It's on the house." The man stared at her, disbelief flickering across his face. "Why would you do that?" he asked quietly. "Because you deserve kindness," Emily said simply. "Everyone does." The man looked down at the plate in his hands, his emotions threatening to overwhelm him. "Thank you," he whispered. "I don't even know how to thank you." "What's your name?" Emily asked, sitting down on the curb beside him. "Sam," he said after a pause. "I used to be someone you know. I served in the army, but now—" His voice trailed off, and Emily waited patiently, knowing silence could be as comforting as words. "I lost everything when I came back," Sam continued, his voice trembling. "I couldn't find work. I couldn't sleep because of the nightmares. My family tried to help, but I pushed them away. And now I'm here." Emily nodded, her heart aching for him. "I'm so sorry you've been through that, Sam. But you're still someone, and you're not alone." Unbeknownst to Emily, her actions hadn't gone unnoticed inside the diner. Mr. Grayson, the owner, had been watching from his office. To him, Emily's gesture wasn't an act of kindness, it was an infraction. He prided himself on running a respectable business and believed that helping people like Sam would drive away paying customers. As soon as Emily returned to the diner, Mr. Grayson stormed out of his office, his face flushed with anger and his voice sharp enough to silence the chatter of the diners. "Emily," he barked. "What do you think you're doing?" Emily turned to face him, startled by his tone. I was just helping someone who needed it," she said carefully. "Helping someone?" Mr. Grayson scoffed. You gave away food without paying for it. Do you know how much that plate cost? This is a business, not a charity. Emily straightened her back, her cheeks burning with embarrassment. It was just one plate, Mr. Grayson, and he was hungry. I couldn't just ignore him. Well, you should have, Mr. Grayson snapped. You've embarrassed this diner in front of our customers. You're fired. The room fell silent as every pair of eyes turned toward Emily. Her chest tightened, but she refused to back down. If showing kindness is something to be ashamed of, then maybe I don't want to work here, she said. Firmly, she removed her apron and set it on the counter before walking out the door with her head held high. Emily sat on a bench outside the diner, trying to process what had just happened. Her emotions swirled: anger at Mr. Grayson's cruelty, sadness over losing her job, and doubt about whether she had done the right thing. She was so lost in thought that she didn't notice the sleek black car pulling up until the door opened and a man stepped out, dressed in a tailored suit with an air of quiet authority. Mayor Daniels approached her. "Excuse me," he said, his tone warm and polite. "Are you Emily?" Emily looked up, startled. "Yes, that's me," she said hesitantly. "I heard about what happened," the mayor said, sitting down beside her, "and I want you to know that your actions were nothing short of heroic." Emily's eyes widened. "Heroic? But I lost my job." The mayor nodded. "Sometimes doing the right thing comes at a cost. But people like you, people who lead with their hearts, are exactly what this community needs." He handed her a card. "There's a nonprofit organization that works with veterans and the homeless. They're looking for someone compassionate and dedicated. If you're interested, I'd be happy to recommend you." Tears filled Emily's eyes as she took the card. "Thank you," she said. "This means so much to me." The mayor didn't stop there. He shared Emily's story on social media, praising her courage and calling on the community to do more to help those in need. The post went viral, reaching thousands of people who were inspired by Emily's compassion. The story sparked a wave of kindness. Donations poured into local shelters, volunteers stepped forward to help the homeless, and businesses began partnering with nonprofits to create job opportunities for people like Sam. As for Sam, his life took a remarkable turn. With the help of the nonprofit, he received medical care, therapy, and a place to stay. He even found part-time work at a local community center, helping other veterans who were struggling. Years later, Emily would look back on that fateful day and smile. What had started as a simple act of kindness had grown into something much larger, a movement that transformed lives and reminded people of the power of compassion. For Sam, the meal Emily had given him was more than food. It was a lifeline. And for Emily, the encounter had set her on a path she never could have imagined, one filled with purpose and hope. Dear friends, if this story touched your heart, please give it a like and share it with others. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories. Together, let's make the world a kinder place, one act at a time.